Think you've seen it all? Think again. There are women alive today whose lives rewrite every definition of normal. Their bodies carry stories of pain,
burning pain, quite similar to a first or second degree burn,
triumph, and transformation that most of us could never imagine. From one who grew a full beard to another whose arms swelled to an unbelievable size. This is one lineup you won't want to miss.
I love to show my body. I love summer because I can show my scars.
Number 10. Nicolette Rivera. Meet Nicolette Rivera, the beauty creator who pulls off flawless glam with 0 hands. She was born without arms, but instead of letting that define her, she taught herself to do almost everything with her feet. Texting, eating, writing, and even blending eyeshadow, she handles it all. Watch her in clips from Born Different and Shake My Beauty, and you'll see her grip a brush between her toes and apply eyeliner cleaner than most people with 2 hands. Nicolette grew up just outside Philadelphia, in Croydon, Pennsylvania, and started sharing her story online in her early 20s. Doctors call her condition bilateral aplasia of the upper limbs. In plain terms, her arms never formed. She's also spoken about another diagnosis you almost never hear of, femur fibula ulna complex.
My name is Nicolette Rivera, and I have femur fibula ulna complex,
A rare developmental disorder that can affect how bones in the arms and legs form. So what does her makeup routine actually look like? She flips open palettes with her toes, then pinches a brush between 2 toes for grip. Using short, steady strokes, she blends shadow across her eyelids. For eyeliner, she anchors her heel for stability, then flicks the line outward in one smooth pull. Lip liner and lipstick follow, applied with her toes once again. Before finishing it off with setting spray, she presses down using her foot. She shared full Get Ready With Me videos that show the entire process from start to finish. No edits, no tricks. Number 9. Lisa Marie Brown. Lisa Marie Brown was the woman the internet told to eat, but her gut said no. A 5'10" former model from Brookfield, Wisconsin, she loved cooking, browsing flea markets with her husband Patrick, and working as a substance abuse counselor. Life looked normal until everything started unraveling right after her 28th birthday. Food stopped staying down, the scale kept dropping, and her clothes hung off her. She fell from about 140 pounds to just 89 pounds, no matter how much she tried to eat. Strangers would throw out cruel comments at her, not realizing her body wasn't letting food through at all. Doctors finally uncovered the first piece of her mystery, superior mesenteric artery syndrome, or SMAS. Put simply, part of her small intestine was trapped between 2 major blood vessels, the aorta and the superior mesenteric artery. Think of it like a highway, where a section gets squeezed so tight that traffic can't move. That squeeze kept food from passing, and her body began to starve itself. She had surgery in early 2014, and for a moment it looked like relief, but the symptoms came storming back. Her fight didn't stop. She was so weak she couldn't even take a normal flight, so a local business sent her to the Cleveland Clinic on a company jet. There, Dr. Matthew Crow gave her even more devastating news. She also had gastroparesis. That meant her stomach muscles barely worked, leaving food to just sit instead of emptying. To survive, Lisa spent nearly 20 hours a day hooked up to a feeding pump that pushed about 2,000 calories straight into her system. By mid-2015, her weight stayed locked at 89 pounds. By January of 2017, she was down to 77. Specialists said she needed an intestinal transplant, but the cost was more than $1 million, and insurance wouldn't cover it. Even then, Lisa refused to stay silent. She filmed a video called Be Brave SMAS Warriors, painted her nails purple for SMAS Awareness Day, and kept speaking out so others wouldn't be dismissed as not eating. On January 21, 2017, Lisa died at home in Brookfield. She was only 34. Her obituary called it a 5-year battle, but her friends remember much more. Number 8. Harnam Kaur. Harnam Kaur turned something most people would try to hide into her superpower. She's the British woman with a full beard who took a tough diagnosis, owned it, and made history. At just 12 years old, doctors told her she had polycystic ovary syndrome, or PCOS. It's a hormonal condition that can cause facial and body hair to grow quickly. It can also bring acne, irregular periods, and other symptoms. Harnam had already noticed the hair at age 11, and by then, the teasing at school was relentless. She tried everything: waxing, shaving, bleaching, day after day. Nothing worked. At 16, she made the decision that changed her life. She stopped removing her beard and chose to embrace who she was. Her Sikh faith, which encourages followers to keep their hair natural, gave her the strength to stick with that choice. She's been honest about how dark those years were before acceptance, bullying that led to self-harm and even suicidal thoughts. Deciding to keep her beard was the turning point. It marked the start of real self-respect, and it's the reason people pay attention when she speaks about body image today. Then came the record. On September 7, 2015, in her hometown of Slough, England, Guinness World Records officially measured her and confirmed her title, the youngest woman with a full beard. She was 24 years and 282 days old, but Harnum didn't stop at a certificate. In March 2016, she became the first bearded woman to walk the runway at London Fashion Week. That moment broke barriers that few people even realized were there. The next year, she starred in a beard oil campaign with Captain Fawcett, owning the joke, flipping the script, and proving she could control the narrative and profit from it. She's been interviewed worldwide, featured in fashion and beauty media, and in July 2020 she appeared on the cover of Cosmopolitan India. Number 7. Mandy Sellers. Mandy Sellers is the woman whose legs simply would not stop growing. Born in Lancashire, England in 1975, she arrived with feet and legs already much larger than a typical newborn's. As the rest of her body grew at a normal pace, her lower limbs kept expanding, creating a dramatic difference. By her early 30s, her story drew worldwide attention through documentaries like The Woman with Giant Legs in 2008 and Losing One of My Giant Legs in 2011. The numbers are staggering. In 2008, ABC News reported that her legs and feet alone weighed more than 150 pounds. By 2009, Mandy estimated her total body weight at about 294 pounds, roughly 84 pounds in her upper body, and a massive 210 pounds carried entirely in her legs and feet. That kind of imbalance is something most doctors never encounter in their entire careers. For years, experts thought she had Proteus syndrome, the rare condition also associated with Joseph Merrick, known as the Elephant Man. But in 2013, tests at Addenbrooke's Hospital in Cambridge finally revealed the truth. Geneticist Dr. Robert Semple and his team discovered a mutation in the PIK3CA gene, present in some of Mandy's cells but not all. This explained everything. Doctors now place her condition under PIK3CA-related overgrowth spectrum, or PROS, a family of disorders tied to that single gene error. Her left leg eventually paid the steepest price. In January 2010, a severe infection led to life-threatening sepsis, forcing an above-knee amputation. Most people thought the surgery would finally halt the growth. It didn't. Within 2 years, the stump had swelled to nearly 1 meter in circumference, about 39 inches, and quickly outgrew even custom prosthetics. By 2013, Channel 5 documented her again in Shrinking My 17-Stone Legs, with her leg mass topping 17 stone, or about 238 pounds. The genetic breakthrough, however, opened new doors. Mandy began treatment with rapamycin, also known as sirolimus, a repurposed drug that targets the pathway linked to her mutation. Within 3 months, she saw measurable shrinkage and lost about 50 pounds at one stage. However, the benefit faded over time. In 2022, the FDA approved alpelisib, brand name Vijoice, as the first drug specifically for PROS, marking a turning point for patients who once faced surgery as their only option. Despite all the medical challenges, Mandy refused to let her condition control her spirit. She learned to drive with hand controls, lived independently, and stayed visible even when strangers stared or mocked. More than that, she turned her experience into advocacy. She founded GoPI3Ks, a registered UK charity supporting families with PROS, and partnered with rare disease networks to spread awareness. Number 6. Melanie Gaydos. Melanie Gaydos is the model who broke every rule by showing up exactly as she is. Born with ectodermal dysplasia, a rare genetic condition that changes how hair, teeth, nails, and sweat glands form, her appearance never fit the mold of traditional beauty. For Melanie, that meant no natural hair, no natural teeth, a cleft palate that needed repair, and more than 30 surgeries before she was even an adult. On top of that, she's legally blind because her eyelashes once grew inward and scratched her corneas. What could have been a lifelong struggle for invisibility instead became her look, and ultimately her power. She grew up on the East Coast, then moved to New York City for art school. That's where modeling started, not with a big agency, but with Craigslist and Model Mayhem. Independent photographers were searching for faces they had never seen before, and Melanie leaned in. At first, she thought it would be a quirky summer gig while she studied, but the images caught on. Soon, she was in magazines like ID, Love, and Galore. What began as a side hustle quickly became a career. Her teeth story says everything about her approach to beauty. In her mid-20s, a TV medical team fitted her with 3 implants and removable dentures. Most people would think that would change her life, but within 8 months, she stopped wearing them. Eating felt easier without the hardware, and she realized she didn't need to fix anything. Around the same time, in 2015, she stopped wearing wigs, embracing her bare scalp fully. Music fans may have spotted her before fashion fans did. In 2012, Melanie appeared in Rammstein's video, Mine Hurts Brent. 2 versions of the video dropped that December, and in the main cut, she plays the eerie Sandman figure haunting the band's dream world. That wasn't just a cameo, it was a full performance that announced her presence on the global stage. Overnight, she went from niche shoots to international recognition. After that, credits kept stacking up. She worked with Kat Von D, shot with heavy metal band Behemoth, and walked runways at New York Fashion Week. Number 5. Alba Parejo. Alba Parejo was born in Barcelona with skin that looks like a night sky, one giant birthmark stretched across her body, and hundreds of smaller ones scattered like stars. Doctors call it giant congenital melanocytic nevus with multiple satellite nevi. Nobody fully understands why it happens. What doctors do know is that it's rare, lifelong, and requires constant medical attention. By the time Alba was just 5 years old, she had already endured close to 30 surgeries. At the time, doctors were quick to remove large sections of her nevus because of fears about melanoma. The operations left thick scars and numb areas, especially across her back. Just as painful were the reactions at school. Kids mocked her appearance, and Alba carried those words alongside her scars. The numbers behind her skin tell their own story. Early reports counted over 500 moles visible across her body. Later, as she grew and became more open about her condition, Spanish outlets began describing more than 1,000. Whatever the exact number, it's extraordinary, and each one requires ongoing monitoring. What truly shifted her life wasn't a medical procedure. It was her own decision. As a teenager, Alba stopped hiding her skin and stepped into the world of modeling. Spanish media picked up her story of bullying, surgeries, and a bold choice to reveal her body as it is. She explained that modeling was her way of teaching people what this condition means and showing that being different never equals being less. She later poured her story into a book titled From My Skin: How I Learned to Love My Constellations, when translated from Spanish. It captures her journey through medicine, self-image, and how she came to see her skin as a canvas of strength rather than shame. Today, Alba uses Instagram to share her life, educate people about melanoma risks, and talk honestly about the mental side of growing up different. Number 4. Samara Ingrafia. Samara Ingrafia lives with a pain most of us can't even wrap our heads around. She says it feels like her skin is stuck in constant second-degree burns. The pain flares in her hands, her feet, and sometimes across her face. What sets it off? The smallest shifts in temperature. Doctors finally put a name to it: erythromelalgia. As if that wasn't enough, she also has Raynaud's. One condition explodes with heat, the other clamps down with cold. Together, they trap her in a comfort zone so narrow that most homes can't hold it. Her family keeps the thermostat locked at 62 degrees Fahrenheit because even a brief swing higher or lower can light her nerves on fire. Samara grew up in Michigan, and her nightmare began when she was about 9 years old. The burning sensations appeared without warning, and her family began chasing answers. Over the years, they saw more than 100 doctors before someone finally pieced it together. When regular classrooms became unbearable, too warm, too unpredictable, she shifted to homeschooling. Daily life turned into a long list of rules. No ovens, only microwaves. No hot showers. Avoid the sun. Avoid steam. Even normal movement had to be calculated. Her father, Brian, a former college professor, lives with the same 2 conditions and is also confined to the house. Her mother, Ariella, worked in California but flew back to Michigan for about 10 days each month to help them both manage. Erythromelalgia is a rare disorder where blood flow to the skin misfires. When it flares, the skin burns, turns red, and swells with heat. Triggers can be as simple as a warm room, a pair of tight shoes, or a little exercise. Studies suggest it affects only 1 or 2 people in every 100,000 each year. Cooling can sometimes bring relief, but there's no guaranteed treatment and no cure. Raynaud's pushes in the opposite direction. Cold air or stress makes small blood vessels clamp down until blood flow nearly stops. Fingers and toes can go white or blue, go numb, and then throb painfully when the blood rushes back. For someone like Samara, even the cold air from opening a freezer door or a blast from an AC vent can cause a full attack. Her family has tried nearly everything available for erythromelalgia. At one point, they even looked into stem cell therapy, but the price tag was around $60,000 and came with no promises. Number 3. Caitlin. Caitlin was born with a face most doctors only ever see in textbooks. She came into the world with a lower jaw so small it was almost absent, and no external ears. That combination meant her tongue slipped backward, blocking her airway from the very first breath. Surgeons had to place a tracheostomy tube immediately so she could survive. That tube became part of her daily reality. She learned how to care for it herself, cleaning it about once a week to prevent buildup or infection. Eating turned into a daily strategy, chewing slowly, avoiding foods that could choke her, and learning how to work around a body that never made swallowing simple. Swimming underwater? Off limits. Doctors describe Caitlin's craniofacial differences with 2 terms. One is Treacher-Collins syndrome, a condition that disrupts facial bone development and often leaves people with very small jaws and hearing loss. The other is Pierre-Robin sequence, a pattern that combines a tiny jaw, a tongue that falls backward, and airway obstruction. Caitlin went through multiple reconstructive surgeries, including one where doctors used part of her rib bone to build up her jawline. As a baby, she relied on a feeding tube, but over time, with more surgeries and practice, she learned to eat by mouth. She also found her voice, literally, learning to speak and even sing despite the trach. Because she was born without ears, she also lives with significant hearing loss, but hearing technology allows her to connect. The social side was brutal. As a child, classmates stared, pointed, and mocked her appearance. That kind of bullying can crush anyone's spirit. Instead of folding, Caitlin turned to dance. She started lessons at age 10 and discovered an outlet that gave her rhythm, confidence, and healing. Over the years, dance became her therapy. When she eventually posted her routines on TikTok, her talent and personality caught fire. Her personal life also breaks stereotypes. Caitlin has shared about her relationship with her boyfriend, Montre, whose support kept her posting through waves of online hate. Number 2. Sarah Gertz. Meet Sarah Gertz, the model whose wrinkles arrived decades early and ended up changing her life. She grew up in Minnesota and first got a name for her condition at age 10, dermatosparaxis Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, or DEDS. It's one of the rarest connective tissue disorders. It means her body can't process collagen the way most people's do. That leaves her skin soft, fragile, and loose, with folds that look like advanced aging, even when you're still a kid. Scientists trace it to changes in a gene called ADAMTS2, which is supposed to help collagen mature. When that gene misfires, the results show up in every layer of the skin. By her mid-20s, Sarah stopped trying to cover it up. In 2015, she wrote a piece about her experience and submitted it to Love Your Lines, a body positivity campaign collecting stories about women's real skin. At first, nothing happened, but when her post finally went live, the outpouring of support was overwhelming, and Sarah leaned fully into modeling. That single step opened the door to everything that came next. The broader media picked up her story in 2017, when she was 26 and living around Minneapolis and Golden Valley. She told reporters the truth. Yes, the skin is real, no filters involved, and yes, it hurts. For her, EDS isn't just about how she looks. It brings joint pain, tissue pain, and days when even basic movement is difficult. There's no cure. Management is about protecting the skin, easing the pain, and adjusting daily life. What makes Sarah stand out is that she took this obscure diagnosis and put it on runways and magazine covers, forcing people to learn what it really is. From there, her resume grew fast, with features in Glamour, Teen Vogue, and People. Real life never stopped being complicated. In 2019, she shared that she'd been bedridden for weeks with EDS complications and asked her followers for help. Number 1. Nicole Faccio. Meet Nicole Faccio, the woman who turned full-body swelling into a masterclass on style and grit. As a newborn in San Juan, Puerto Rico, her left arm ballooned far beyond what doctors expected. Soon it spread into both legs, her abdomen, even her face. By her own account, about 75% of her body can swell at any given time. The reason is primary lymphedema, a disorder where the lymph system can't drain fluid the way it should. Instead, fluid builds up in tissues, making limbs and other areas feel heavy, tight, and painful, with skin more prone to infections like cellulitis. There's no cure for lymphedema. All you can do is manage it with compression, drainage, skincare, and movement. Behind her swelling lies an even rarer condition, Wild syndrome. Doctors describe it as warts, immunodeficiency, and lymphatic dysplasia. It's a genetic lymphatic disorder present from birth that can strike multiple body systems. Classic signs include immune deficiencies, stubborn wart growth, and widespread swelling. For Nicole, that's meant dealing with genital lymphedema, lymphangiomas, a collapsed lung, and protein-losing enteropathy. It's a complex, lifelong condition, and it's a lot for one person to handle. That's where Nicole flips the script. She jokes that compression is her best friend, and then turns it into fashion. Brightly colored wraps, coordinated outfits, and TikToks about bandaging on bad swelling days transform clinical care into something relatable and stylish. Back in 2017, the Lymphatic Education and Research Network honored her with an Advocate Award at its New York Walk, recognizing her efforts to raise awareness about lymphedema and support others living with it. In February 2023, she won the Eurordis Black Pearl Social Media Award for using her platform to uplift the rare disease community with straight talk and positivity. Thanks for watching. Now check out the videos popping up on screen for more unbelievable stories.